Today we're going to talk about different hardware options that are available for window screens. There's basically two different types, with a third type as an add-on that I'll talk about in a minute. The first category that we're going to talk about is called tension hardware. And tension hardware is simply a type of hardware that holds the screen in the window with tension. And you can see we'll have three different types that are available from us in your catalog. The first type is called a V-spring. And a V-spring is just what it looks like. It looks like a V. And in that you can see as I retract it down and pushes out that tension actually keeps the window screen in the window. The second type we're going to talk about is called a tension spring. And the tension springs we use are put into the side of the window screen frame. And you can see again that all it does is it creates downward tension to push against the windowsill. The third type that we use is called a plunger. And a plunger is a mechanism that has a spring-loaded piece in the inside of the frame. And again, as you can see, you can pull down with it and it'll go up to apply tension. And this tension can go up and down or sideways depending on where you place it. The second major category that we use, or that we'll talk about today, is called holding hardware. And holding hardware just holds it without any tension in the window screen. The first item we're going to talk about is called a turn tab. And a turn tab, you'll see, will actually come out and go into a slot or possibly a specific hole. What's important to realize with the turn tab is that about 95% of the time, the window will actually have an accepting channel that runs the full width or height of your window. And the only thing the turn tab has to do is go into that slot. However, about 5% of the time, there'll actually be a specific hole that turn tab has to line up on. And that's very important for us to know. Likewise, a knife latch, which we see here at the bottom, is similar in that it retracts back into the frame. And then when it comes forward, it has a knife-like action that comes into your window to hold your screen in place, very similar to a turn tab. Just like the turn tab, the knife latch, about 95% of the times, will have a slot that runs the full width or height of the window that the knife latch will actually go into. However, again, about 5% of the time, it'll be a very specific hole that knife latch will need to go into without a lot of room for error. If you miss that in the deductions or the information that you give us, then the slide latch will simply not recess properly into its hole. The next type of holding hardware we're going to talk about is called the ram's horn. And the ram horn looks like a ram's horn. And basically what it does is it just applies a little bit of tension to a window screen or to a window with this type of action where you push it down and then it pulls back and holds it in place. Very, very rarely used and mostly for older type windows. The last type of holding hardware we're going to talk about is called a loop latch. And a loop latch is used for wood type windows where you will have what's called a ball head screw that will protrude out of the bottom of the sill. And then this loop latch will fit around that ball head screw and actually pull the window screen in place. Finally, the third item that we talked about, or category that I said was an add-on, is simply called a pull tab. And a pull tab really serves no purpose other than to give you something to hold on to allow yourself to either to lift up the screen into the proper position or to pull down the screen into the proper position when using with tension spring types hardware or tension type hardware, whether it be a tension spring or whether it be a V-spring. And it just allows you something to grab onto. You'll notice that with most of the types of hardware shown here, you really don't need the pull tab because it has a holding mechanism that you can use. For example, the knife latch you can hold on to. There's no need to have a pull tab. However, the V-spring and the tension spring, as you see, there's nothing really to hold on to. Thus, you need the pull tab to be able to hold on to in the opposite direction.